Hi friends, Editing Sara here. This will be the second part of our discussion about Nerve and the hidden memory. I also just want to wish everyone a very safe and happy Pride Month. So, on with the episode. So, we talked about the returning characters. How about the new characters? What did you all think of Stark?
Oh, I love Stark. I love him so much, and I wish he was a series regular because there's something about the actor Paul Goddard. I think his name is.
Yes.
There was something so oddly captivating about his performance. I loved him so much. What did we call him? Phantom of the something.
Phantom of the Iron Mask, I think is what we're saying.
Yeah, that's it. Phantom of the Iron Mask. Yeah. And I love the reveal of his like light thing. I love Stark. Love Stark.
This will not be the last we see of Stark. That is all I'm going to say.
Yes, I'm so happy because he's great. He's freaking amazing. I love him. I like weirdos. What can I say?
Thank God. Yeah, I really enjoy him too, and I am. I feel like in this episode, the writers were just like, you know what, let's just call these characters what they are. So he's Stark, raving mad, and Scorpio will sting you no matter what. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed the performance, and I did like the reveal of like, you're not that crazy, are you? You know, and him being like, oh well, no, actually, you know, I've just got this shiny, translucent, ethereal galaxy in my head, like that. I'm interested in what that is.
Yeah. Because at first I thought like it's a healing light, then it has something to do with the memories. I don't know. But he seems to like he gives Jelena basically the wouldn't you like me to lie to you now thing. Like he gives her this peaceful, well he gives her peace as she dies, and I think that's lovely. Yeah, so I'm curious to see exactly what that is, and I hope we figure like we get to know what that is exactly.
Yeah, he's got a really great kind of fallen space angel vibe. Like you feel like he knows some of the secrets of the universe, and that now that he knows them, he cannot unknow them. So he's just trying to make it as, you know, as like be as kind to people as he can. But he seems like the kind of character that something took a chunk out of this guy a while ago, and that's going to have, you know, there's going to be a payment for that, which makes him a character that I am infinitely interested in. Like he didn't actually have that much real estate in these two episodes, but he chewed the scenery like nobody's business, and like took, you know, he really had that. It was so great and so interesting and complex, and unlike Jelena, underplayed just a little bit so that you kind of lean into him more than lean back because it's too much, you know. And I thought it was a really, really interesting character.
And he's been there for 2 years and in that chair over 100 times. And we saw what that chair did to John.
Yeah, it made Ben Browder act.
Oh my God,
Ben Browder acts very well, but that was so.
It really does. Yeah.
His performance, like
yes,
it's so like it's difficult to watch at times. And coming from me, an actual horror fan, like that means a lot because I've seen some horrible movies with some gory shit going on, but watching Ben Browder scream and emote all this pain is so uncomfortable and yeah, freaking amazing performance there.
And knowing that he's doing it with a camera rig 1/8 of an inch from his nose, I'm assuming. And like, you know, just because of all the hyper close-ups that they were doing on him, but just it's so real.
Yeah.
Like it's not like pretend you're being tortured. It's like, oh God, is he okay? Should we stop?
Yeah. That's why it's difficult to watch. It's like he went method. I don't know how you would do that in that situation, but
like my guy was crying. My guy needed a tissue. You know, he was slobbering and he was drooling and his beard was growing and it was just a whole thing, man.
And even Lani Tupu in the chair was amazing as well. His performance was
we got to talk about Mr. Tupu at some point, but yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Grace. Or the Lani, do you have any thoughts on
Yeah.
on the chair?
Oh, on the chair. Well, yeah. I mean, I agree with everything said. The intensity of the chair was really interesting, especially because you're just like, yeah, you are just watching them act their way through the torture, and you see it. It did have a feel of like a carnival ride where like Scorpius steps up on it and it just kind of rolls around with him on it.
Step right up.
Like, this is 1984 at the county fair sort of vibe going on. But, I dig it. I dig it. I'm into it. And to see Krace put in there, like I love the swap, the antagonism swap, where now we have Kraze, who I think for me was a weaker, kind of a spongier antagonist for me to hold on to. Whereas Scorpius comes in from minute one and you're like, oh, dude is bad. Like this is a guy you do not mess with. And I think that there's a value to having like the super evil antagonist, and there's a value to having the antagonist that you maybe have a little more empathy for, like Kraze lost his brother. He was raised a peacekeeper. That messes you up. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff with that. But you see Scorpius in there, and when he turns his gimlet eye on Kraze and you realize that there's some seat swapping happening both narratively and literally in the space, it's such a cool transition, and like the antagonism handoff happens. And we still see Kraze being like terrible, like when Eren comes in and the threats and all of that stuff, like he's still, a bad guy. But so much incredible stuff happening in and around that chair in all of these different vectors. It's kind of amazing.
I loved even the way that they framed how Krace and Scorpius treated John while he was in the chair. Like Scorpius was on the merry-go-round, and so like the camera looked stationary and the background was moving, and Scorpius was like, on top of the thing. It was like, what is this over here? But Krace was not on the ride. He was pacing with it, and which made for a visually interesting shot, but also it definitely made it apparent that like he is not in control here. He is not in power here. He is also trying to keep up with this whole thing.
Yeah.
And Scorpius turning his guards.
Yeah. What a power move, man. What a power move.
That was some Azula and Long Fang shit right there. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like Krace as a character, and Lani Tupu was amazing. But I think I've talked about this before, but another one of my gripes in media is the whole like, I mean, Krace's motive is he thinks Crichton killed his brother, when it's a little flimsy. Like, come on, dude. Like, really, like. I think he knows that he didn't really kill his brother, but he's just pissed off. Fine, but that kind of like misdirected, or like not even misdirected, but just like a character swearing vengeance against a character who didn't actually do what the character thinks that they did. That just bugs me. I think it's kind of tropey, and I think it's kind of stupid. But I mean, Lani Tupu is amazing, and I like Krace.
He is the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
He is, and he's also just like an undeterrable force of nature. There's no talking a tornado out of sweeping you away.
Yeah.
And that's what Krace, especially after the Maldus episode, that's what Krace becomes. Because his motive gets kind of screwdrivered in that episode a little bit, away from like avenge your brother to make your father proud. And he's unhinged, and he goes back and with the lady, and flies off, and the whole thing. And it is like that. I feel John's exasperation as an audience member. Like whenever Grace shows up and John's like, I didn't kill your brother. I'm like, you didn't kill your brother.
Yeah.
But Scorpius.
Speaking of just quickly of Crichton and Crace, I love Crichton's reaction when Crace walks into the cell. He just starts laughing because it's just like, well, this just keeps getting worse and worse. Like, I love that reaction. It actually made me laugh. I really like it.
All of John's manicness is just like, I think the thing about the chair is we get torture. We get the full weight of a person is being tortured, but in a way that, works for television, basically. We don't have to see anything icky or do anything. We just get sort of the pure experience of torture. And oh boy, it's a lot. And we see the effect on John.
And Grace.
And it uncovers we have the hidden memory that the ancients place in his brain. What did everybody have thoughts on that?
I love that idea, and I love that it's I just love that they did that and they hid it from us for so long. But yeah, the idea of him having the information he needs to get home locked away in his head is great. And I love that this sort of, in a narrative way, this sets us up for a quest, because I think the ancients specifically said that what is it that it will allow him to find the answer for himself. I forget the wording. But yeah, that was just cool. And I was like, oh, really? Wow. That was probably my biggest jaw drop of the episode.
If you're not smart enough to find it, you're not smart enough to to have it. You don't deserve to have it.
Yeah. I love that.
I'm interested to see where it goes because I do love a good quest, and I also do love the twist of like what him the construct of his father saying like, we see the potential in you guys. And you won't know this, but it'll be there. And so like you'll be able to get closer and closer without realizing it. And Scorpius kind of points that out too. I was like, of course, that's why you were drawn here, and that kind of thing. And but I'm not actually a fan of that kind of reveal because like I'd have to go back and rewatch that episode. I don't recall anything being foreshadowed or telegraphed at all in that episode. This to me feels like they filmed another scene and dropped it in. And it was like, this took place during it did? Okay.
They did film it at the time when they filmed the A Human Reaction. But yeah, it's a bit unclear as to when exactly did this happen.
Mm-hmm. So the lack of foreshadowing and the lack of I guess any kind of like narrative hint that this reveal is coming, that there is a hidden memory to be revealed. Just I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy the device or the choice or the trope or whatever, and because it didn't feel like a reveal to me. Like the reveal to me implies that I'm aware that there's a curtain or that there's a cloth or something. I didn't know there was a curtain or a cloth. I didn't know that there was something being hidden. So it just
kind of like not playing fair. Right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they got to give you something where when you look back, you're like, oh, yeah, they did say that. And it's really hard to see that. Yeah. Yeah. Narratively, it can be really hard to see that, especially when you want to protect a twist. Mm-hmm. But that's what you got to do. You got to seed it in something else so that we don't know it's going to be used for that. We think we already know how it's going to be used. And then that's how that narratively becomes something, I think, a little more satisfying for a viewer. So yeah, I absolutely agree that it does seem to kind of come out of nowhere. At the same time, I do love that it does exactly what we're missing, like where Craze's motivation was really, really spongy. Here we have the fact that Crichton does have the answer that Scorpius wants, but he can't give it to him. And also that he has to earn the answer. It's in there somewhere, but even he doesn't have access to it. So he's being chased for something he can't access himself. How frustrating is that? And I kind of love how it just ratchets up all of those lines of conflict and antagonism. But Josh, absolutely 1,000%. I think you're right on there.
Yeah, Glinda, why didn't you tell me about the shoes to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, really. Don't get me started on Wizard of Oz.
This is the thing. This is the inheritance the stories that they're pulling on, because they're pulling on Wizard of Oz and they're pulling on Star Trek. So we get the we get the girls of the week, and we get the shoes that came out of nowhere, and
shoes.
It's the wormhole shoes.
Yeah.
And also like Crace being like, "You killed my brother." But
prepare to die.
Sometimes it's where you start versus what you do with it. And yeah, this is a bit of a clunky, like out of nowhere, but we'll see what they do with it.
Now, and I'm going to refer to this wormhole as the Ruby wormhole.
Absolutely.
I'm with you.
I can't not doing that now, and it's
the wormhole
it's all your guys' fault. One quick thought I had watching this episode about Crace is I wonder if he's going to have like a turn to the light moment at some point. I don't know. It's a vibe I got that I don't know. It might happen, might not, but that's a thought that then I had. I wonder if he's going to have what they call in wrestling a heel face turn, and that's where a bad guy becomes a good guy. And yeah, I don't know.
We shall see.
We shall see.
Enemy of my enemy, kind of a gig. Yeah. But I just wanted to put that thought out there, but before I forgot.
So while John is suffering in the chair, we have Gianna playing some cosplay to get the.
I love Pulp.
You can't
Gianna.
Recognize her. She's wearing a jumpsuit and a black wig. I didn't even know who she was.
Just where did they find the black wig?
Where did they find the black wig?
Gianna Thurman. It's kind of stupid, but I kind of love it. I don't know. It's dumb, and I think it's great.
I think the fact that Aaron jokes about it makes it sort of work for me, because it's so dumb. And of course, it wasn't going to work on Javio.
No, like all of 4 seconds.
It shouldn't have worked on anybody.
Exactly.
I think the thing is that peacekeepers don't look at text. I think that's the only thing that makes it work up until like for like while they let her walk past them. But not the first time she actually speaks to someone, she has to fry him to get out of there.
It's not just that the disguise is so flimsy though; it's that she's so conspicuous while she's wearing it. Like she's like trying to avoid people. And hunched over.
If she changed her voice and her demeanor, like if there was something, But I mean, my favorite part though is when Jelena is like, oh, "I wouldn't even know you," and that's one of those things where like, don't lie to her. Show some respect.
Yeah.
Well,
keep your head down and put on these
treat her like a child.
Yeah, exactly.
Shiana lied pretty blatantly to Jelena, so I think.
Oh yeah,
they both have very transparent lies to each other.
Really fucking did. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I freaking love her flamethrower torching that. What's his name? I forget his name. That was freaking badass. Yeah. That was badass, God. Dude. That was like shocking. That was like a John McClane yippee-ki-yay motherfucker moment again.
And then they zoomed in on.
What the hell was with that? That was really like
new.
Yeah, that was so full on for Fosgate. Yeah. Like they went there, man.
He was really hoping for a free sample, and he got fried instead.
Like Javio wasn't that bad. He was just kind of like.
Yeah, he was like medium jerky, like not
kind of pervy, but
he wasn't even the most lecherous character in this episode.
Yeah, he was asking her, like he was asking for her consent all along the way, and he was gross. But, so like when she killed him and enjoyed it so much, like you could see her face, she's like. I charred him, it felt a little like, well, Gianna's, there's a dark side to Chiana, which I actually, I enjoy all of her shenanigans. Like Chiana shenanigans, one of my favorite things in this whole thing. But the idea that she just like cold murdered a dude, and like charbroiled him, and then has the only reaction is a giggle. I was like, you know what? Don't get on her bad side, Well, don't eat the last ice cream sandwich around Chiana because,
Yeah, like don't, it's not even don't get on her bad side. It's like, don't slightly imply. Like it was such a disproportionate death.
Yeah, it is.
That's what I loved about it. It was so balls to the wall. It was just like, boom, bitch! Like, wow.
Well, you really shouldn't be shooting off guns on the refueling station.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That was a lesson for OSHA.
But
right.
that's not exactly the only way to handle it. Not a proportional
response.
No.
Yeah.
What is the virtue of a proportional response?
I know.
But well, she does have the reaction of some of us desperately need to bathe. So it's kind of like it seems like she has two reactions. She has the giggling reaction of when it's right happening, and then later she has I did that. I feel dirty. It's an interesting. Chiana is such a complex character.
She's fascinating. She's fascinating.
It's in Chiana, I think, that we feel the difference in the two different sets of writers, the two different writers and directors, because in the first episode we get Chiana. She's being sexualized, but she is in control. She's a sexual subject. Yeah. She's using her sexuality. But in the second episode, we get her agency taken away from her, and we get her sexualized. We get her essentially sexually assaulted. She's groped for the audience's entertainment. Mm-hmm. And I really that is the piece of this episode I don't like is of the two episodes we get that. Because Rigel is gross, but we haven't seen this from him. This took it over the line, and I really feel like the writers were wanting us to enjoy Chiana being perved on.
Yeah, it's played for a joke, and that's the main reason why I don't like it. It's this is supposed to be funny, and it's not funny.
It's also played for a joke that's inconsistent with Rigel's character. He's not attracted to humanoids.
Yeah,
that's been a plot point in at least 2 different episodes.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I found it appalling. And then to like pile insult on top of injury, the helium farts in the closed space, the Dutch ovenness of it after being sexually assaulted, and all of that played for "Isn't this cute?" And it was a bit much.
It was a bit much.
Yeah. I can get with the helium farts if you don't do the other bit.
I find
if
that
you don't do the sexual assault.
Just the helium part.
Just the helium
part. On the heels of the sexual assault, it is. Yeah. It's so disturbing because it basically puts it all in the same bucket as though it's all the same kind of humor. And I'm like, no, that's like straight up sexual assault. That's not okay.
Yeah.
And it's sexual assault that's validated, seemingly validated by the text. Like they didn't even do the trope that is commonly done in that kind of scenario of like, is that your hand? Oh, sorry. And that kind of thing.
Yeah.
When you can clearly tell that person wasn't sorry and they really tried to make, but the writing says that's not okay. They didn't even do that in this one. And I was waiting for that moment.
At least Lana like punch him or something, like something.
She lit Javio on fire and Rigel just gets a pass.
It's how Chiana is such a sexual character, and I'm okay with that. I think that works. But when she's being objectified for us, no.
Yeah.
Like usually the sexuality is a matter of her agency, and we're gonna see good and bad in this in the future. It's complicated with Chiana. Trying to figure out. I think it's a matter of the time and trying to figure out how to write this character.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think it's one of the interesting pieces of the show. And it's really boiled down to here. We get the 2 episodes. We get Shiana sexualizing herself to get what she wants, in full control and agency. Well, maybe not full control. I think Shiana is always a little bit out of control. But she's the one who's playing the line there. And then we have stuck in a container, and for the audience's pleasure, she's being sexualized. And it,
don't make me complicit in that. Yeah. Writers,
right?
That's not my pleasure. Don't put me on this.
And like the 3 of us were watching, we are all people who find female presenting people attractive. I think we were all 100% there for her in her own agency at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Jack, absolutely. Like 1,000 times there.
Oh yeah.
and then when you will see, if any of you watch our watch along, when she in that, none of us are enjoying her being there. Yeah, it's just like, who would enjoy this? This is icky. But yeah, so that is the downside of these 2 episodes. But we do get she does get away, and Jelena has managed to make the magical got a hold of magic syringe and has managed to make a hole in the sensors. And so we do have Eren healed.
Man, Jelena is severely underpaid by the Peacekeepers.
Right? Eren was the John McClane of this episode. She saved the day. Absolutely. Because they wouldn't have been able to do any of it without Jelena's help.
Yeah, you said Eren. I think you meant Jelena.
Oh yeah, Jelena. Sorry, yeah, and that's what I meant. Sorry, yeah. Even like Eren relied on her.
Yes.
She was the hero for sure.
Yeah.
They did avoid. We're talking about Eren Ripley now. Okay. They did avoid. Again, Farscape continuing to mix bag it when it comes to strong female writing. They did avoid having any kind of like competition or cattiness or anything like that between Eren and Jelena, which I appreciated and would have rolled my eyes at, because it's very out of character for Eren and Jelena both, and it's very out of sorts for this kind of writing for that to have popped up. And so I was grateful that they did that. And I was also really grateful that we got Eren Ripley again. I love, just shoulder gun kind of deal.
Yeah.
And then just the moment between her and Krace.
Oh my God.
Okay. Let's talk about that scene.
Jack?
I feel like look, I haven't seen what's to come, of course. I haven't watched ahead, but I feel like this episode serves as a conclusion to Eren's Peacekeeper arc. I feel like she finally shrugs that off here. In the confrontation with Krace, it was like she finally gives him and the Peacekeepers the middle finger. I freaking love that. And initially I thought she was going to spare his life in kind of a, I will show you the mercy that you wouldn't show me kind of way. But then she kind of like, she flips the switch and turns the chair on. And to me, it would have been more powerful and poignant if she just walked away and left him rather than turning the chair on. But I mean, you could say that he could have yelled for guards or whatever. Like, I don't know, sure. But I just feel like it would have been so much more poignant and meaningful if she just walked away.
Oh God, I love that she turned it up to 11. I love that she was like, you took everything from me, because we always expect that of women, right? Women are supposed to be soft. They're supposed to be nurturing. They're supposed to be like, yeah, you did this terrible thing, but I'm going to forgive you because I'm going to do the right thing. And she's not interested in the right thing. She is not interested in any of his nonsense. She is not having it. And she is making that absolutely clear. You do not mess with Eren soon. And oh my God, where he is there and he is threatening her and he is using everything he has to try to intimidate her, to try to manipulate her, to try to get her back. And she is having none of it. And she's like, yeah, you know what you get for messing with me? This. Turns it up to 11 and walks out like a badass. Loved it so much, so much.
So the chair is, for me, a really great way of like helping to understand what it means to be a good person. Because we commented while we were watching that it felt like a clip show without being a clip show, but also like hardly even that, because it was just like 2 or 3 scenes of rapid fire frames. So it wasn't even clips, you know. But the torture of the chair comes from not just the physical sensation of having freaking laser beams in your brain, but it also comes from being forced to confront oneself. John is forced to confront himself in the chair, and what he finds over and over and over and over is that a lot of the pain that he's experienced recently and a lot of the hurt and a lot of the hardship has been in the service of others. It's been in the quality of mercy, and it's been in the exercise of his empathy. And yeah, you know, he's gotten the shit kicked out of him over and over, but more and more his memories start turning into friendship and pleasure and connection and love. And so Aaron flipping the switch and forcing Krace to confront himself and all of the horrible things that he's done and all of the ways that he has maligned others, and all of that pain is the perfect kind of revenge.
Okay.
And I loved it.
To be clear, I wasn't wanting Erin to forgive him. I just felt that if she walked away, it would be like she was taking the high road, you know, like she wasn't going to stoop to his level, and she was, as I said, going to show him the mercy that he wouldn't show her. But I totally get what you guys are saying, and yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah,
I think for me, it's the moment when he is offering her everything she ever said she wanted, and she says, you know, you took everything from me. And you know what I learned? None of it meant a damn thing. That is just, that. It's definitely a turning point in her arc.
It's the landing of that character arc, and that everything you want is not what you want, and who are you once you realize that? Like, she has a whole identity thing to go through as well. But her ability, and I also really love, Josh, this idea that she didn't do to him anything but give him his life. You want your life? Here you go. Right? All of the stuff that he's suffering from was of his doing. And so she is allowing him to have consequence for what he's done. But, and Jack, I totally get your point. And there are points where I do like that. There is a satisfaction from, I'm the better person. I'm going to show you that you're less than me. I completely get what you're going for with that. And in most circumstances, as you're saying, I'm like, yeah, usually I dig that too. And why in this circumstance, I don't want that. I want her to let him experience the suffering that he has wrought, because he did it. He created the situation that he's in. He's there because of things that he did. And so she is willing to let him have the responsibility for his actions and suffer the consequences of his actions. There's something about her not protecting him from that and not feeling the responsibility to protect him from that, that I found just so wonderful in that moment. I mean, I loved it. Yeah.
It's also freaking just a badass thing to do. Let's be honest. It was like brutal.
And Claudia Black killed it in that scene. She was amazing.
She is. She's amazing. It. So yeah, we've talked about a lot. Shall we switch gears for a bit and talk about Call the Midwife, Leviathan edition?
God, this has been such a long time coming, man. I'm glad that we're finally here and it's finally happened. I've been wondering how they were going to do this, and I had no idea, and I was still very much surprised by the whole thing, and the fact that she gives birth to a baby that has freaking guns. It has weapons. So I'm wondering now, like, they kind of now have an armed envoy. Like they now have protection. So I don't know. I'm wondering how this is going to sort of change the dynamic. Will the crew split up and some will board the baby? I don't know, but I'm really excited to see what's going to happen.
So she has a literal breech birth, which I thought that the visual pun was fantastic. And I remember, and sorry, you reminded me of this a couple of times. I remember way back in, I think, Premiere, when I made a remark about like, it didn't feel like a living ship, and I wonder what they're going to do with a living ship. And so I'll gleefully eat my words. And this was fantastic. Like just the build up and the culmination and the way that it was just treated as such a very like, we don't know what's happening, but we need to make sure that Moya is okay kind of a thing, you know? And even again, Chiana with her altruism, going in there and trying to, you know, kick the kid out, probably is not what they teach somebody in OBGYN school, but
probably not.
The whole thing worked, and I really liked that it was Rigel and Chiana who were having to midwife this kid, who were at this point probably the most selfish characters. And there is almost no greater opportunity for selflessness than for helping bring a new life into the world.
Yeah, I think it was a real growth moment for Chiana.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really liked about Chiana playing that role is that we had her not too long ago torch a dude. Right. You know, she just murdered somebody, cold murdered somebody. And then she goes into this, you know, kind of nurturing position where she's trying to figure out how to birth this baby. Again, you know, because she's on the ship that's going to die if this baby doesn't get birthed. So it doesn't betray her selfishness. She's still in line with her base character. But in that moment where she's like, nah, guns blazing, go ahead, blow it out, kid, you know, and she just finds a solution and figures it out, and it works. You know, I thought it was really nice to kind of have her in that position where she had to make the decision that ended up saving the day and birthing. And I love that here we are birthing a warship from a peaceful Leviathan. And like, how did that happen? And it's peacekeeper DNA getting in there and, you know, mixing everything up. Like, I love that explanation too, is that it's the peacekeepers. And I do love the, you know, that the peacekeeper is such an ironic title, you know? And then here we have the peacekeeping DNA is what births a warship. Like, to me, all of that is such a lovely kind of contradiction, and yet makes sense with the narrative and the way it's been built. It's kind of cool. I liked that turn.
Yeah, I do love this you know, this turn in this narrative, and I love this role for Chiana. You know, I like that we're pushing her out of her roguishness a bit.
So I'm wondering if our resident peacekeeper with pilot DNA will be particularly suitable for piloting a peacekeeper Leviathan.
Ooh.
Because I was just thinking about, how did Moya get her name? Like, how does anybody know her name is Moya? Did they tell her name is Moya? Or did she, you know, did Pilot like latch in and was like, oh, hello, Moya? And so then that made me think about like, well, how will they know what little Elroy's name is or whatever, you know? Is somebody gonna have to get up in there? And I was like, well, maybe we'll get a pilot extraction. And then I remembered Aaron got turned into a lobster briefly.
Oh, of course.
Yes, she did.
So now I'm intrigued.
That's fascinating. Oh, yeah, I'm interested now.
It's almost like the writers knew what they were doing.
Jack, do you have any thoughts on where? Jack, do you have any thoughts on where they might be going with the baby?
I don't know. Like I said, they're just the crew now have an armed envoy. They have protection, so maybe they can venture into some more dangerous areas. But I don't know. Maybe I mean, what if the baby turns on them because it's got peacekeeper DNA? I don't know. Like I really don't know what they're gonna do with it, and I think that's testament to the writing, because it's it's not predictable. I have no freaking clue.
Of course you don't. It's just fun to get.
Yeah. There's very
predictions that will be wrong.
There is very little I dislike more in media than predictable writing, and this is no idea. But yeah, I'm also curious to see if the baby's going to have a name, how they're going to come up with that, and yeah, I don't know. I would like to see this baby kicking some ass. I think that'd be really cool to see, and just protecting everybody, and yeah.
Lani has watched ahead, so she knows.
Lani knows
some stuff.
They both, listen,
not saying a word.
Y'all both have an identical poker face.
Yeah.
Just keep smiling.
Mm-hmm. It will be an interesting ride.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So,
Farscape.
Yes.
It
will continue to be Farscape.
Mm-hmm.
I've been tempted at times to watch ahead, but that would be inauthentic and inorganic, and so
yeah, please don't do that.
No, I don't look anything up on Wikipedia, TV tropes, IMDb, nothing.
Yeah.
Like even after I watch
the reason why I don't do that is because I've made that mistake in the past where like I'm watching a TV show and I want to know some little detail. So I'll look up IMDb and then I accidentally read a spoiler. It's happened to me so many times. So now I just don't do it. Don't care. Not going to do it.
Yeah. Plus the joy for your Patreon supporters is that they get to watch you see these things happen and react in real time. So where do Patreon supporters go to support the show again, Sara?
Patreon or patreon.com/Muppet Sex and Trauma, and the link will be in the doobly-doo.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Or the show notes, but depending on whether you're watching or listening. Yeah. So we have the baby. We have the we have Erin healed and on her stupid mission with Dargo's assistance.
I love that.
I do feel with the assistance. I love Dargo and Zahn offering their assistance. I do kind of feel like the random scene of randomness where Zahn asks for backstory on the Quilta blade to be a bit like, why are we doing this now?
Yeah, out of place. That was weird. I didn't get that at all. That was a weird piece of exposition that, I agree. Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of Zan here. I do love her. You know, we have the chief alchemist mixing up some explosives. Which, you know, we get her playing doctor, and then we get her playing explosive-y person.
I liked. I was hoping we get a little bit more warriors on than we got. I'm waiting for backflip and ass kicking, but I did like that. Every single shot Zahn fired nailed somebody cold. Like she didn't miss once.
That whole shootout scene though, it looks like it takes place in a laser tag arena, and it's kind of that set. It's not great. I mean, I don't want to rag on it, but that set was pretty crap. But
it does the job. Not much.
There's a reason laser tag arenas are designed thusly.
It's pretty basic, but you know, I'd rather they spend the budget on other things.
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's definitely not an indictment of this episode or
like
the show.
Like the torture merry-go-round.
Right.
Yes.
Or the breach.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's just true. A trade,
kind of much the same. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have we have the firefight, and then Stark and John being kind of ridiculous in the middle of it.
I mean, I love that. Stark may have survived 100 turns in the chair, but he was still in the chair for 100 times, and so like the both of them being a little like, I could use a shower. I could use a nap.
It sort of reminded me of Stephen the Mad Irishman from Braveheart, which I love. Ireland, it's mine. Yeah. As I said, I just love Stark. I think he's amazing, and I love him.
Yeah. And that does take us home. So, any thoughts on themes?
I don't know, Josh.
Well, Josh, give us big brain.
The big,
Yeah.
Tall order there. Sorry. The biggest brain moment that I definitely had was with the chair, and what is the nature of the chair, and what does it mean to be tortured by oneself? Because that's really all Scorpius was doing, is he was just reflecting John and Grace back at each other, or back at themselves, I should say. And the birth being juxtaposed against Jelena's death, and that's a classic birth and death kind of thing. And then also, like Lani was saying when we first started chatting, what better way to represent a game changer than to bring in like a literal new child, into this world, and what we're about to have to reckon with and experience and all that kind of stuff. And I'm looking forward to that and what that's gonna turn into. But this wasn't a terribly like symbolic or meaningful episode, at least as far as I was able to unpack. It was a lot of plot threads being very nicely tied together.
There was just so much going on that I wasn't really able to pick up on any specific theme or vibe, because it was just so much, But yeah, Josh, I like that. That's a astute observation.
Yeah. Lani, any thoughts?
I mean, mostly it's what I see in this is what we carry around with us. That Stark has something inside of him that he is protecting. Crichton has something inside of him that he can't even access, but it's the answer was inside of you all along. It's a little bit like the ruby slipper kind of thing, right? So I think that your Wizard of Oz connection is really astute, but the idea that the answers that you're looking for are inside of you, and that's the place that you look for them, and that's the place that you get them from. And so I think that is kind of an interesting thing that they kept turning on here. And I like to see that, continue to be something they work on as they move through the rest of the story.
That's nice. Yeah. And Moya's kid was inside of her.
Yeah, there's a little truffle inside the big chocolate.
There is
truffles,
a gooey center in the pastry.
Gooey chocolate drizzled center in the space puff pastry. That's
with strawberry jam on top.
This one just happens to have guns in it.
Yes.
Now I'm hungry.
There it is. It's full circle.
I'm actually genuinely hungry.
Okay, so shall we move on to favorite parts? Lani, as our guest, what is your favorite part?
Oh, goodness. This was actually tough for me. I really love the antagonist swap. I thought that was, really elegantly done for something that's done that fast, But I got to say, my favorite part is just Aaron and entire scene, and the way that she just murders that scene and leaves him there to deal with himself. I give you your life. What a wonderful bit of absolutely justified vengeance, It just I think that scene itself is the showstopper for me in these episodes.
Yep.
Same. I love that showdown with it's not really a showdown, it's a confrontation with Grace, how she basically gives him the middle finger. It's like, fuck you, man, and she just walks out. I love that. Yeah. Love it. Great.
I swear to God, I came up with this on my own, but the scene between Aaron and Grace it was just
when I was thinking about it, I'm like, this is going to be everybody's favorite part. I guarantee it. There
have been episodes where we've all had a different favorite, and there have been very few episodes where we've all had the same favorite. And I think that that's a testament to just the power and impact of that particular moment, it was just so satisfying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
I was sure that we would all choose that moment, so I decided to choose. I would make an effort to have something else to talk about,
yes,
Right.
because although it is the best moment, it's one of the best moments in the series. But I'm gonna go with Dargo. If you can be stupid, I can be stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
It's such a, it's just like everything Dargo in these two episodes I love, and that. Like all the Dargo and Eren, friendship romance.
Yeah.
Like the friendship love story. Because I know, Lani, you talk about the difference between a love story and a
romance.
And a romance. And a real friendship love story is wonderful. Love the one that has been here between Dargo and Eren. And we get so many moments of it, like when he says to John, like, no, I do not want Eren to die. This is a horrible way for anyone to die, even a peacekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she wants to die alone. And then, as you once said to me, you will die, but not today.
Yeah.
And then we go into the next episode with him saying, if you can be stupid, I can be stupid. And just like, this is insane, but I'm going with you. Which is something he didn't do with John, right? He didn't, John was doing a stupid thing, and it was Chiana who said, okay, I'll make it somewhat less stupid by going with you. But in this, when it's Eren going in, Dargo steps up to be like, yep, I am with you till the end of the road.
Ride or die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that big tentacled himbo so much.
Yeah, Dargo really was Eren's ride or die this episode. He was just like, you know what, whatever you want, whatever you do, I got you, boo. It's all good.
It's very brother and sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I decided to buck the trend a little bit and come up with a different thing.
Someone's got to.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because that absolutely is the standout moment of the episode.
Yeah.
Is
absolutely
Eren and Grace. So I hope that all of you enjoyed these episodes. If you go to our Patreon, you can enjoy 3 of us watching these episodes. We hope to hear your comments on your thoughts. But for now, Lani, would you like to tell the people where they can find you?
Absolutely. You can find me at LaniDianRich.com or Chipperish Media at Chipperish.com.
And what do you do there, my dear?
Oh, hi. I'm a story expert. So I do story. I know. It's terrible, right? I'm awful. And so motor in chief. She's always the one to nudge me when I fail to do this. I teach storytelling. I do workshops. I'm going to be doing classes soon. And I do writing consultations. And also over at Chipperish Media, we do a number of podcasts about stories that you love, like Buffy and Angel and Marvel Cinematic Universe and jazz like that. And Sandman, which I'm doing now. I'm doing Neil Gaiman's Sandman now. So come and check it out.
And
oh, I have a book called How Story Works.
There it is.
Yes, I have a book called How Story Works. If you want to understand stories and storytelling, go grab it.
Yes, it's an excellent book.
Thank you.
And Jack, where can the folks find you?
You can find me over on Twitter at lackofsurprise1. That's all one word with the number 1 at the end. You can find me over on our Discord server, Muppet Sex and Trauma. I'm often there. I don't post a lot, but if you hit me up, I'll talk to you. We can chat, ask me questions, whatever you want to do. And you can find me over on Instagram. I don't really post a lot there either, but if you want to follow me, you can. Josh, sir, what about you? Where can people find you?
Wherever there's injustice in this world, I'll be there. But mostly I just hang out over on Instagram. All apologies to Steinbeck, and talk about self-care and tie it to food that I like cooking for myself. Because I'm working on the radical notion that I'm worth the effort. So
worth the effort. We love you.
So speaking of promoting people, Sara, don't you have like a YouTube channel or something?
I do. I'm Sara Ezzat. I make the costume Codex videos on YouTube. And by the time that this comes out, I will have finished this semester, this insane semester of school. So I'll have a bit more time to work on video essays and podcasts. I also part of ending this semester of school was my thesis project, which is a podcast that Ren and I, as Ren the Barbarian, who has been a guest before, we worked on it together. It is, we called it Real Fat People, and it is a discussion of representations of fat people in film. There are 4 episodes that we did so far that I hope that is either going to be out when this is published or soon to be out. So I'll let you know when and where that you can see that. We had to talk about Shallow Hal. I deserve some.
Shallow Hal once a gal.
I believe that I earned some points for having watched that thing.
You watched it, so we don't have to. I have seen only the trailers for that. I refuse to watch it. And it hurts me watching the trailers, so that you took that bullet and talked about it, in an intellectual, analytical way for the rest of us. Thank you.
We only covered the fat representation because if we'd been talking about the failures of storytelling, we would have been there for eternity.
Oh, yeah.
But we also talked about
shots fired.
We also talked about some genuinely good films, including Can You Ever Forgive Me? And Dumpling and
I love Can You Ever Forgive Me? That's
so
such a good film.
Yes.
So yeah, that's Real Fat People, hopefully to be in your ear soon. And
look forward to it.
Yeah, and you can also find me on Twitter at BlueStockInSara, where I talk about stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, we're all really great at social media. If you couldn't tell, we're all really on the
social
ball.
media is nothing but a bunch of curmudgeonly malcontents. What do we do there anyway? Yeah.
You tell them.
Bingo! Hit the nail on the head.
So follow us.
Yeah.
So follow us.
Yeah.
I don't know. I talk a lot of fat liberation stuff there mostly.
Yeah, actually, you have a lot of really great stuff that you tweet. You're one of the people that I follow with joy. Definitely.
Oh, good. Always glad to bring a bit of joy.
Yes. And thoughtfulness, definitely. I have joy. You bring thoughtfulness. I have joy at your thoughtfulness.
Aw, I try. So yeah, that's where you can find us. And you can also, you can email the podcast at muppetsexandtrauma.com, and you can, as we've said a couple of times, you can join the Patreon and help to support this. And we really want to appreciate that you guys let us have a bit of a hiatus. And we hope to be recording regularly from now.
We should be.
Yeah. Bar, inshallah, knock on wood, barring any further illness or issues. But yeah. So thank you very
with
much.
My freaking body, who knows?
But thank you very much. So yeah, that is us. How do we end this thing?
Well, we thank our guest, Lani Dian Rich, for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun. I enjoy all 3 of you so much. And it's really been a pleasure to be able to hang out and talk about stories with you guys. I love it.
Very glad you're here.
And the next episode, that is what we do. The next episode we will be discussing is Bone to be Wild. So we have a pun or play on words. Guys.
Is someone going to break a leg? Someone's going to break a leg, isn't it?
My favorite.
Yeah, someone's going to break a leg. That's my prediction. Broken leg.
Any other predictions?
And John's going to wrap it in some plaster, and it's going to be, I don't know.
Such a mundane prediction. Come on.
I'm really great at improv, in case you couldn't tell. Thinking on the spot, that's my thing, man. That's my jam.
Okay, well, one thing that I will tell you is we get one of the greatest makeup jobs in the series.
You say make out or
I'm
make up?
excited.
Make up.
Make up. Okay.
Following that will be the episode Family Ties, which will close the season.
Ooh,
We're in the
Almost
final two
there.
episodes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine.
And then we'll have a discussing the season episode of the podcast, and then we will get into season 2.
Gee whiz.
So yeah. Look to us in 2 weeks for Bone to be Wild.
Thanks, friends.
Thanks, friends.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh, let's fucking go.
I believe you were saying, I'm not in love with the series, and I'm enjoying it. Like,
Yeah. Shut up.
I just knew we had to get to this moment.
Yeah.
This is everything I've been wanting.
What?
Holy shit.
We have a baby ship. Do 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 do. Baby ship.
Please do not get Baby Shark stuck in my head.
Baby ship. Do 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 do.